Another method of a surface that you can create is what's called a planar surface. A planar surface basically is a surface that has a simple slope or a leveling plane. So under the Create Surface command, under the drop down, there's a Create Planar Surface. And instead of using members, you're just going to define what you want that surface to be. So an example is maybe you're going to set the water elevation for this pond, or you're just grading a simple slope or a parking lot or a ball field, for example. You could create a simple planar surface. So basically what you can do is, give it a name. So let's call this, I'm just going to call this water level. And the description, can be, surface, water surface, or something else. You can limit it to a boundary. So if I wanted to, I could choose and limit it to a boundary of this pond. And then you can choose how you want to create it. You can use 2 points, a constant elevation, point in a direction, or 2 points. So if I just use a constant elevation, for example, it's going to ask me for the elevation. So if I was to just grab the elevation from this CAD polyline here of 266, it's going to set a constant plane at 266. So I'm going to click OK to this. Oops. It's looking for the CAD polyline is not a boundary. So let's remove the polyline and just click OK. You'll see that it actually creates a surface kind of to the limits of your project. So as you can see here, if I zoom out, we've got one plane surface, right? Kind of extends out to the limits of your surface here. So that's probably where the boundary would actually come in handy, is to limit that. But if we look at the surface slicer view down here, and I take a look at, and we turn on that water level surface, you'll see that there's the surface and the water level. So now we can do reporting and check volumes on this, and we'll again talk about that in a future video below about reporting volumes and other earthwork quantities to working with surfaces. But basically a planar surface in this case is just a leveling plane. So you can use 2 points, like we said, a point in direction, and you can do a cross slope. So if I was to use 2 points, so let's go ahead and get rid of this one just for a second. Then what I can do here is, let's say, I'm just going to call this valley, and give it a description of valley. You have to have a name and a description so they can be the same. They're they don't have to be different. And then use 2 points. So I'm going to pick my first point, and let's just say that that first point is down here, and the elevation I'm going to set to maybe 250. And then my second point can come over here, and that can also be 250, but let's set it to 275. Now it's going to go and project to the left and to the right out. Now we can go 0 for flat, or if we wanted to, we could go to a 3:1 or a percentage. So if you type in 3, it's going to do a 3%. If you do a 3:1, it's going to do a 3:1. So we can do 3:1 or 2:1 or flat, to the left, to the right. And then when we click OK, it's going to build a surface, basically using that line, these 2 points as a projection line with that slope elevation between those two, and then it's going to project out left or right based on these slopes. So you can see that the surface gets created. Again, the best way to see this is in the surface viewer. So I'm just going to pick valley, and you can see here what that slope looks like in there. So we went out basically holding that elevation, went that way. So that's a planar surface, planar slope. So we could go negative slopes to go back the other direction, but kind of a quick way to create just a flat plane surface with no real details.